Welcome back to Inclusion Revolution, and again, thank you to Dr. Bruce Mills for really what was a very brief discussion on a very big topic. I'm really pleased to see Paul joining us right now because we're going to do this segment where we talk a little bit about the latest in the news affecting persons with all types of disabilities, as well as we do our poll of the week. Again, let me remind you, for more information on the poll, today's show, future shows, past shows, and I can't think of anything else, but we'll put something interesting up there. Oh, and the polls of the week. Do check out inclusionrevolution.com. It's a fantastic website, and it will link you to a number of websites that we partner with, including information on disability awareness training, information on links to other agencies and types of disabilities, and resources, much like Dr. Mills talked about today. But first, let's go over to Paul and hear about today's news. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Tova. How are you today?
Great.
We have some fascinating articles today dealing with addiction, and particularly smoking. Yes. There is an interesting article coming out of the New England Journal of Medicine, which talks about General Electric Company in the United States who paid their employees to quit smoking. So the way this works...
First of all, how much, and is it U.S. dollars?
It's U.S. dollars, which,
okay.
isn't worth much more than Canadian these days anyway.
Oh, okay. I'm a little out of it.
So they get $100 U.S. for completing a quit smoking program.
Okay.
$250 for quitting within 6 months.
Okay.
And $400 for abstaining for another 6 months.
So $750 if for 6 months they're clean.
For a year.
A year. And I assume they're testing.
They're testing. What they're doing is they're testing their saliva for a chemical that's often found in nicotine that remains in your saliva for 25 days. So there really isn't a lot of cheating in this program. The previous programs where they paid participants to quit weren't very successful, but the researchers found that 15% of the study participants were tobacco-free after a year, which is 3 times the amount of people who were not paid the incentive.
You said 15%, correct?
15%.
I would think it should be higher, but again, this raises the question, is paying people the way to go? Because I'm always curious, if you're not ready to quit, and frankly, a member of my family is a smoker, right. And I'm sensitive to this issue, and as a non-smoker, I may be more sensitive, and I'd love to figure out the motivation, but I've over and over and over again seen that unless you're ready, I mean, mentally sort of ready to say, I'm done, does all this money work? I mean, do we know yet? I mean, this is a new program, so we'll have to keep our eyes on it.
It is, but they're saying that before the studies included too few participants, and the money incentive wasn't large enough. So they tried it before with a lesser amount of money, and it didn't work. They didn't get the same results. So they upped the amount of money, and now it seems like they've got 3 times the amount of participants who have actually quit.
Well, I know that even with lottery, because I've always had this argument: wouldn't it be better if they split these big lotteries into 3, and each one of us could win $20 million instead of 160? But actually, studies show the bigger amounts get bigger sales and tickets. So I'm assuming it's much that same thought process. More money means more motivation to do it.
Exactly, and people are motivated by different things. But maybe it's today's economic climate, which money becomes more valuable to someone, and it's the higher incentive to quit. You've also got to look at that $750 that they're getting paid, the amount of money that they're saving on the cigarettes. So they're saving a lot more than the $750 a year on cigarettes.
If they're found non-compliant, what happens? I got to ask, because I got to believe there's some people slipping a cigarette.
They pay the money back.
They have to pay the money back.
They pay the money back. And an interesting thing is GE and the insurance companies are splitting the bill, and they don't plan on recouping the costs for 3 to 5 years. So they're going to see the measurable results. Exactly, the measurable results of the people quitting should affect their costs within their healthcare systems and within the company with time off, because smokers have more time off and smokers have more health issues. So the insurance companies and General Electric are saying within 3 to 5 years we will see a recoup of our funds that we've put into helping people.
So you're recommending I offer my husband some money?
Sure, might be worth it.
I've tried everything else. We'll try money now, shall we?
Yeah.
And was there another story relating to that?
There is. Well, this is on the other side of things, where this is the first definitive study that ties passive smoking to dementia. So what they're saying is the secondhand smoke that you're breathing in from your husband could affect your later on your ability to
dementia. I'll be more prone to dementia, percentage-wise, as a secondhand smoker.
Exactly. So it's tied to passive smoke to a range of conditions. Lung cancer and heart disease are the obvious ones. But more than half of the children worldwide that are exposed to secondhand smoke, according to the World Health Organization. So really, this is kind of looking at a children's perspective, more or less, looking at children being affected by their parents or their caregivers smoking.
Which is why they've barred smoking, I know, in a number of provinces in cars.
Yes, exactly.
Because of secondhand smoke.
Exactly.
And, you know, we grew up in a generation when our parents all smoked, so it was a little bit different because we didn't know.
Right.
But I can tell you that I think this information should be really compelling to people around smoking, around other people, and most importantly themselves. And I guess it leads us to our poll of the week, which I think is really interesting, and I'm going to read it. Should smokers have the same access to and receive the same medical treatment and care as non-smokers? And that's a very interesting question, because for instance, if a smoker needs a heart transplant, he may have a very difficult time getting on that transplant list because he is a smoker. So again, I'll be very interested in everyone's opinions. You can sort of put your 2 cents worth in on the inclusionrevolution.com website. The poll will be up there within 24 hours of the show, so get on there and make your opinion known. And again, the question is, do smokers deserve the same exact treatment as non-smokers in our medical system? I want to thank Paul for joining us today, and of course Dr. Bruce Mills for that very interesting discussion on self-advocacy. For more information, do check out inclusionrevolution.com. And of course, we look forward to seeing you here on Eastlink every Monday night at 9 and again Sunday nights at 8. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Take care.